In today's episode, I interview Catherine LifeDesign, purpose and business coach, on how to find your purpose and turn your abilities, your experiences into an online product. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you. Hello and welcome to the Successful, Sensitive and Intuitive Entrepreneur podcast. My name is Lydia Sophia Wilmsen and I am an intuitive success mentor for sensitive entrepreneurs. In this podcast, I speak about the challenges sensitive and intuitive entrepreneurs face. I offer you new perspectives and solutions, as well as experiences of other entrepreneurs. Plus, I speak about my personal experience of being a highly sensitive person who has successfully built and scaled 2 businesses. All of that with the goal to make you and your business even more successful in your very unique and authentic way. Have fun and enjoy.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I can't wait to kick off.
Yay! And just for the audience, it might be because we are both in Cyprus right now, either like we are in different cities. However, Catherine is sitting outside because she has designed her life to look epic and she's working in the garden and there are some kids running around. So it might be that you have some sounds in the background. However, bear with us.
Yep.
So I would like to start asking you, Catherine, to tell us a little bit about yourself, about what you do, but let's start with who are you? What's your story?
Oh, thank you so much. That's such a great question. I love it. So sorry again if there's kids in the background, but literally this is my workplace. I work under the big lemon tree in Cyprus, 5 minutes from the sea. And it took a while to get here, I really have to say. So what's my story? I think we have to start somewhere where obviously I was working a corporate job. I was working in, a kind of structure that I think everybody starts out with. Like we go to school, we get used to getting up at 7 o'clock. And I already realized back then that wasn't really to my advantage. Like I didn't really feel like, wow, I'm getting the most out of myself, out of my day, out of learning. Learning wasn't always cool, but you know what I mean? It's really, so you notice small signs like this is not the way I would do it if I was totally free. And as I got older and as I progressed also career-wise, there were more hierarchies, more structures. And I thought, there must be a different way. There must be a different way where it doesn't, you don't feel drained and exhausted at the end of the day, and maybe not even happy in your job, maybe not even fulfilled in your job, but also doing something that you love. And that was not something that any of my friends did at the time either. So everybody was very much keen on, complaining about, oh, my job's horrible. Oh, my colleagues are horrible. Oh, I wish the weekend was here already. So it was, it's that kind of moaning that goes on very automatically, very subconsciously. And this voice kept coming up in my head. There must be a different way. There must be a different way. So when I turned 27, I went self-employed. And, if you now think, wow, that was the turning point. That was, it changed my life. Yeah, it did change my life. But sooner or later, I realized, hold on, I was exchanging one prison for another. So by that time, I tried a career in freelancing. I realized, wow, I'm working more now. Okay, I'm doing what I want. And I got rid of some hierarchies, but now I'm in charge of everything. Taking out the office trash to, doing accounting, doing, chasing clients on the phone and so on and so on. And I was earning less than I was before. So I thought, hold on, something's not right still. And it took me a little while longer. I've been an entrepreneur for 12 years now. Well, I started with freelance work, 12 years. And I proudly say today that the first 7 years, I wasn't that successful. I hadn't quite figured out, how to put what I know and how to put my knowledge and everything into a product, how to get leverage on my time. And that changed when I came up and put all my knowledge, all my abilities, my talents, my fears, my joy and my love into an online product. That was the turning point. And then I managed to proudly call myself an entrepreneur. And that was the big change I'd hoped for. And that was the different way I was looking for.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, Catherine. And there is so much in your introduction already. It shows, it starts with, going a new path when like all your friends are doing the old stuff, moaning and I'm not happy about that and not changing anything. And then having the courage, like this would be my first question. How did you basically muster, or how did you have this courage? Like, was it your characteristics, like a character trait of yours? How did you have that courage when the whole world around you was stuck in a different place?
Great question. And I really have to say, no, I didn't have the courage. It wasn't a personality trait at all. It was pure desperation. Let's call it pure desperation. Okay. It really was. So back in the days, I think I was really somebody that learned through pain more than they did voluntarily, which is how I prefer to learn nowadays. So nowadays, if I want something, I learn how to get there. I learn who I want to become in order to reach that goal, for example. And most importantly, it's the most important thing is who you want to be anyway, not your goals or anything else, but who do you want to be? Back then, it was sheer desperation. It really was. So I was in a situation and I realized I cannot continue 1 minute longer. And I had a business partner and we had an office together, although I was never an office person. But, that was just something you did back then. You had an office and my business partner thought, all right, let's work from 9 to 9, or 9 to 8 or something like that.
Not 9 to 5, no. But 9 to 9 now.
Exactly. And I went along with it. And he was very much a structured person and I wasn't. And we were getting on each other's nerves. And bless him, he's a wonderful person. But it's just, again, I didn't feel free in that constellation. So one day we had a little bit of an argument and I turned around and I left the office and never came back. And I made a really, really important decision. And since we're talking about turning points, that was one of my turning points. I made a decision back then that from now onwards, I will only do things that I really wholeheartedly love to do. And immediately a small voice came on and it was like, no, you can't do that. You have to do things you don't like. You have to cook, you have to clean, you have to do your accounting or something like that. But you know what? I pushed that voice aside. And for the weeks to come, all I did was things I loved. And if I didn't want to do anything, I would just lie in bed, not doing anything at all. And that was crazy. So I guess it took a little bit of courage, but it wasn't born out of courage. It was born out of desperation. And, trying to find a new way for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that because, entrepreneurship, we always think it's courage and strong people. And very often it's born of, as you said, out of desperation, out of changing things up and you have no idea how. And then you make it work. And what I also liked when you introduced yourself was this creating a new prison, like being in the prison of like 9 to 5 and then creating a prison of 9 to 9, and then figure out like, oh, what the fuck? Like, no, I'm in the next prison and the next hamster wheel. And was this a slow process of recognizing that, or was this like also a turning point, like, wow, this is not how I wanted?
To be honest, and to be very honest, for me, it was a slow change. It was a slow realization. But I'm really very much of the opinion that it doesn't have to be today. So I think if I would have recognized and if I would have found the power of coaching and of having a mentor and of actually investing in yourself, I would have gone through those changes so much quicker. I can't even tell you. Yeah. It took me, like I was saying at the very beginning, it took me 7 years to figure out, hold on, freelance work is just like being a glorified employee, but you're interchangeable and you can be let go and at any minute, and there's 5,000 others that want to take your place. So I think it didn't have to be this long, but it was my way of doing things. And back in the days, I was also very much, I have to do this by myself. And I think I'm clever. I can figure this out. Of course, we are clever, we can figure anything out, but how long do you want to take? How long do you want it to take to figure things out? Maybe there's a better, quicker, faster way to do it and save yourself some pain and gain faster on what it is actually that you want. And I always say nowadays that, in the first 7 years, I found out so many ways that business doesn't work. I found so many ways of how not to get clients, how not to do things, how not to set up a website and things like that. And then I found my mentor back in the days, and he showed me in 2 months how things actually worked. And the 7 years before that, I found many ways how things didn't work. And that was very valuable because I can now pass that on to my clients. But there's a faster way. Get somebody to show you how to do it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love that, Catherine. And I love the reflection you have on that, because many people go through that process and they never ever get those learnings. It's like, oh, now it's different and now that works. And they never reflect back on like, where did I come from? And also, sometimes it is this, oh, now I'm successful, and they forget that it took them some time to get there. You don't become successful overnight. Yes, you can quicken it very much, but there is still life happening, So, we always have to take that into account.
Oh, yeah, and life is happening. I like that. That's a very well said.
Perhaps you can shift now a little bit into the work you do now, like how you help people to do things quicker. And let's talk a little bit about purpose. What do you mean by purpose? What is purpose for you?
Oh yes, purpose is what makes what makes me tick. What makes what causes my drive. So I think what I do now is also, again, born out of a situation that I was no longer happy with. And I realized I wanted to set up my business and do it properly. And I wanted to get the leverage of having my own product and actually having my own message rather than being a freelance person that does project for other people. So, and I was I had this decision to make. What is it I'm going to put into a product? What is it I want to be known for? What is it I want to gain visibility for? What do I want people to come to me for? And again, I was at a point I was running in circles. I was like, okay, I don't know, maybe it's this. Oh, maybe it's that. I don't know. Maybe I could be a marketing coach. Maybe I could, do leadership academy and things like that. There's so many ideas and so many experiences I've had. So it was very hard to choose. And there I was talking about purpose one day, and the person opposite me was like, oh, that's such a great theme. Purpose, that's I wanna learn more about that. And I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna do an online course on that. And nothing happened. So the next 6 months I thought, oh, I'm gonna do a course on that. Nothing happened. And I did.
Like, you mean you didn't sell something? Or I didn't. Like, what do you mean with nothing happened?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, nothing happened in terms of I wanted to set up a course, but I didn't actually manage to. It's this big talk of I'm going to do videos and I'm going to sell this, and I was just sitting there going, yeah, I'm going to do a course. I'm going to do a course, but it didn't materialize in any way. And I kept telling people, yeah, in October my course is going to launch. Oh yeah, in January my course is going to launch, and it just didn't happen. And I realized I hadn't actually found my own purpose. So I turned the whole thing around. Rather than trying to create a course or trying to find a theme or a niche or whatever it is we want to call it these days. First of all, I actually went inside of me, and I really started laying out the path from the inside out, going from the internal to the external. And doing that, I realized there's actually 4 pillars for to find your purpose, to turn that into business that you actually want to stick with. So I found that the 4 pillars, and there's one 5th and secret pillar that I always call it the secret pillar. The first pillar is, of course, what is it you are good at? What is it you love to do? And I don't mean in the sense of, oh, I'm a good accountant. That's a kind of structured phrase that it's already too made up. You gotta go a little bit deeper. What is it you like about doing accounting, for example? Is it that you love to get lost in the detail? Is it that you love to find something that makes your eyes light up? and really that where you're just having fun and you lose track of time. So really break it down into what it is you're good at on that level. And the second pillar, of course, is your why. But whenever people say, oh, you have to find your why, I always say that's not enough. Your why alone is neither a business nor will it keep you going. But the second, it's part of the puzzle. So I always say that your purpose is kind of like a big puzzle. And only once you find all the pillars and you lay it out in front of you, will it give you a picture, like an ongoing theme that you missed because you're only looking at what are you good at, or you were only looking at, oh, you need to find your why. It's not enough. Yeah. The third pillar is your history, your experience. And that very often has to do also with pain points, with huge failings in your life. Where have you really failed on a deep level? What that has caused you pain? Where have you really succeeded in your life? So have a look at what you're proud of, both of those things. And don't just get rid of one of them. They're both equally important. And the fourth pillar, and that is something I'm super passionate about, is how do you want to live? And that is so super important, because people now always tell me, oh yeah, my job's quite okay. If there wasn't the commute that takes an hour, or if there wasn't this one colleague, or if there wasn't my boss that I hate. So there's always something wrong with the how. And it was the same for me. My job was okay, but being there at 9 o'clock was pure stress for me. And no matter how much you love your job or what you do, or you have your why or your history and everything, if it doesn't fit with your rhythm, if it doesn't fit in with how you want to live, you're not gonna pull through for the rest of your life. You're not gonna keep at it. You're gonna drop it sometime and try to find something better. Try to find something better. So those are the four pillars. And the fifth one, to actually turn it into a business, is, of course, solving a problem. What's the solution that you can offer by putting the puzzle of those four pillars together, and you see this picture, and then find out with that completely unique, and it's super unique. Just imagine, how many things are you good at? So many reasons why, your history and how you want to live. If you put that together and then see, what does a person with those preferences, what would they be really good at solving? And then you have the fifth pillar, and that is your business. And it's actually really, really easy. It's really simple.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I love that, how you break it down, and we can see how much passion there is for you, and how much into depth you have gone. And we will talk a little bit later, obviously, what your offers are and for whom that might be interesting. So thank you for giving us an insight in that. And what I would like to know, with those 5 pillars we heard now, this is basically for those people perhaps who don't have, who start out and want to create something from scratch. What happens with me sometimes, or not with me, but with my clients sometimes, is, you get to a next level. So there might sometimes be the question, okay, what is my calling on a next level? So how did you solve that for yourself? And what do you have to say about that?
Oh, exciting. Yes. So the model I just described with the 5 pillars, it's actually fantastic, especially for multi-potentialites. So for people who have 1,000 interests, who can never or find it very hard to make a decision, is it this or that? And I believe your purpose is much bigger than that. So once you find that big calling, that purpose, by laying the puzzle pieces next to each other, you actually, the only decision you have to make is, what is the first project I want to do? What's the second project I want to do with this? What's the first solution I'm going to offer? What's the second solution? What's the third solution? So imagine you have your house, and then you decide, oh, today I'm going to paint my living room green, and tomorrow I'm going to paint it black, and my bathroom is going to be blue. So you have, your purpose is actually
colorful house.
Yeah. Maybe you'll get bored of green and then you color red or something. No, but that's the only decision you have to take, because you have this house, and you have you see the big picture. You see the reason why you're here. And from that, for example, when I first worked on this, my purpose came out to be that I wanted to show people how wonderful the world is. And I thought, oh my God, that's a little bit big, isn't it? How am I going to do that? And then, so the first project I worked with was, that I wanted to work in for environmental charities, because I thought if I want to show people how beautiful the world is, we're going to make sure we maintain it. We're going to make sure we take care of it. And later on, that turned into something very different, because later on I realized, hold on, if I want to show people how beautiful the world is, maybe I should start with people, the people that actually see the world. So this was a big shift in my, not in my purpose. My purpose stayed the same, but my project changed very much. And you were asking about the next level. So I think with your purpose, you actually stay around the same theme, but what it is you do changes a lot. So it could be, for example, I'm writing a book at the moment, but I also have my group coaching programs. I went from finding your purpose to helping people set up a business, to working with their energy levels. And I don't mean that in a philosophical way, but in a very don't manage your time, manage your energy kind of sense. So you actually get into your full potential, and you're actually really good at setting up a business and then maintaining a high energy level and getting the best out of you. So my projects change, but my purpose actually stays the same.
I love that.
Does that answer the question a little bit?
Yeah, it does answer the question. Yeah, for sure. I would see it probably in a similar way. So you just put it in beautiful words. So thank you for that. And okay, you said, and I know those scanners and how did you call them?
Multi-potentialites, yes.
And that issue, and I always speak about the red thread, like what is running through you. We could say what is like the purpose, and then you add all those things, to it, like the puzzle, what you just described, and perhaps different things, different projects, or even different businesses. You don't have to stay with one. Like once it's running, you can start with others. And there might be a mindset question there, because one of the big fears obviously is for the people especially for those people, we want to do everything at once. We want to do all 10 ideas we have like right now, and I can't focus. Like, how do I start? Which one? How can you help those people to find what they should start with, or how to get over that limiting or self-sabotage?
Beautiful, absolutely.
And not doing anything in the end.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's something I struggled with as well for a long time, until I figured out the whole purpose, the 4 pillars and everything. But the question is, the question is, and I will very much challenge the thinking behind it, because what those people very often think is, I have to make a decision, either this or that. And that is not true, because your life is not black and white. Your life is so many shades of gray that you can't even imagine. So if you get yourself in the state where you think, if I'm going to make this decision, and what if it's the wrong one, that's a trap in itself. So that's just not true. And it's just not, it's just not even relevant. The only decision you have to make is, what is it you want to do first? And as a multi-potentialite, or somebody with many different interests, it's a case of allowing yourself to have this many talents, and really seeing that as a superpower. I used to call it superpower. So why not have many interests, and why not? And finding your purpose in that whole thing is even more important, because then you see it makes your success visible. Like I was saying earlier I wanted to show people how beautiful the world is. I could say, I failed at a career in environmental charities. But actually I didn't, because it was part of my purpose. And that actually makes the triumph and the success that you go through in each stage, it makes it visible, because you're like, wow, I fulfilled part of my purpose, but now it's changed a little bit. I'm going to do something else. So allow yourself to be this multicolored and multifaceted, and just find out what is it that you would like to do right now. What is it you would like to do first? And there's a couple of powerful questions you can ask yourself with that. For example, what's the easiest for you to turn into reality at the moment? What's the one thing that is the most joyful for you? And also, what brings most value to people and yourself? So there's a couple of questions you can find out what it is you would like to start with. But in total, if you follow your purpose, then you will never feel bored again ever in your life because you have such an array of things you could do and projects you could do. And the second is, why not live those different interests and talents with pure joy? Why not really enjoy each and every one of them? And like Marie Forleo said once, my multi-potential like muffins, you don't have to turn everything into business, have hobbies. So not everything has to be a business.
Yeah. For example, I'm enjoying very much the hiking tours here right now in Cyprus. I love sports. I love all of that, but I don't want to create a business. Like I could even become a fitness coach, I could become a nutritionist, all of that. I have vast knowledge, but this will always be my hobby. And this will always be something, which I don't do. Like, at least I say that now, but that's the point.
Fantastic. Thank you for saying that, actually, because I was thinking the other day, all right, my company is called LifeDesign because it's all about how you want to create and design your life. So now I do business design, create the business you love. And I was thinking, hey, what's to stop me from doing health design? Because it kind of fits in with the whole create the life you want to live. And so there's the sky is your limit. So maybe, hey, who knows, one day you might do something about nutrition or health or fitness or anything like that. Why not?
Yeah. Why not? Might be. And just, right now it is, this is what you said, like it does not need to be like everything at once. And I think it's also a lot of beauty, and your path shows that of letting things to develop. Like you didn't know that you would have like several companies, a company like, set up in Cyprus, would live with your life partner in Cyprus, not in London anymore, whatever, like no idea. And how did you have the trust or following your intuition, or like, how did you keep going? Is there something, a force you trusted or whatever?
Yeah. That actually goes very, very, very much into your area of expertise, because as I went along with my business and finding my purpose and following that, I more and more developed this sense of intuition, of feeling, not thinking, but feeling if something's right or if it isn't right. And I know you are the super expert on that, but it's true. Like you normally say as well, it's following your gut. Does it feel like something you would like to do? Does it feel right? Is there something bigger maybe calling you? And Cyprus came up in when was it? I think it was May of 2018. And really, I have to admit, I don't think I really knew where Cyprus was back then. I thought, yeah, maybe it's in the Mediterranean, but I don't know exactly where. And I didn't have a clue. I really had no idea. And it came out of a frustration, actually. And I was looking for somewhere warm to live. And I was looking for somewhere also where the tax system was very friendly. And suddenly Cyprus appeared. And I thought, wow, that sounds exactly what I've been looking for. 2 weeks later, I was on a plane or maybe 3 weeks later, I can't remember. I was on a plane to Cyprus for the very first time. And this was June. This was beginning of June, I think. And by the end of July, I had moved to Cyprus completely. I had no idea. Seriously, I swear, before I think 15th of May, I had no intention of leaving or moving anywhere else whatsoever. And it just came up, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's do it. I'm scared as hell. I really am. But why not? It feels kind of right. It feels good. Let's do it. Yeah, it's following your intuition, and it's never disappointed me. I never could have imagined being this happy, being this relaxed here, enjoying so much living by the sea, which, yeah, it's a dream for a lot of people, but it wasn't one that I was actually really going after. It just came about. And it's led me wonderfully to this place where I am right now in my garden with the lemon tree.
Yeah, and some kids running around, but now they are quiet. And yeah, also you had a very, like you traveled a lot, and at some point you told me you were living like in 3 places, but not, I think you made the differentiation that it wasn't like basically a free will. It had to do with your partner and studies and your work and all of that. And also now you live at ease, and you never, I think you probably wouldn't have said like, I want to settle down in this country. We spoke about that. So this also probably is just was following intuition and seeing how things work out.
Yeah.
Instead of planning, it needs to be like that.
Exactly. Oh yeah, letting go of those planning. And when did you ever manage to plan something out perfectly? When did you ever feel ready? Like, for example, I was using an example the other day. Did you feel 100% ready when you did your driving test? Did you feel did you know exactly what was going to happen the first time you got into a car on the driver's side? You can't. You learn much more in the first 5 minutes of actually being and doing than you could ever when you plan in theory and work out every detail of what it is you're going to do. You're going to learn so much more by just being there and absorbing and turning things into reality. So that's the one thing. I didn't know if I was going to like Cyprus. I really didn't. I didn't know if I was going to be happy here. But oh my God. Let life surprise you a little bit. That's one thing I really. It might be even better than you have imagined it. Have you ever thought of that? It could be better than you think it is. So let life surprise you a little. And the other thing is, I am now a really, really firm believer, and I love just making decisions and really not fussing about for years and trying to work out every angle. But for me, one thing was when I met my partner, Roland, I met him and it was like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to try this. It wasn't, if he doesn't like me and I don't like him, we could do something else. We would just find somebody else. It was more like we met and we really very soon on committed. And people said, "Wow, he's a lot younger than you. You live in 2 different places." And we're like, "So that's not going to stop
so
us."
What?
So what? We're like, let's do this. Let's try this. And it turned out, well, we had 4 or 5 years of living in 2 and 3 different places. We always shared our time between Berlin, Salzburg, Cyprus, Vienna. So we had like 2 or 3 homes, and we literally had a toothbrush in each and every one of them. So there was quite a lot of traveling there. But we actually pulled through that, and we actually managed to maintain our relationship and have a really beautiful relationship by just really making the decision we are going to be together and we're going to make it work. And we just stuck by that. We really did. So I love making clear decisions, and that gives you a lot of energy. It frees up a lot of energy that you would otherwise waste by thinking, oh, maybe he's not the right one, or maybe we should do this, and doubting and worrying. And we're just like, well, one thing's clear, we're going to try this. And then you make it work. So the thing that comes first for me is always a decision. Do I want to be happy? Oh yes, okay, then I'll find a way to be happy, even if my reality is very adverse at the moment, or I have a lot of challenges. Okay, so that's one thing I've actually gotten very good at over the years, and I think entrepreneurship is a huge, huge vehicle for self-development. I don't think I've ever developed as much in my entire life as by becoming an entrepreneur. I don't know how you have you made a similar experience?
Yeah, I would say so. Entrepreneurship and relationships are the two factors for personal development. You don't even do all the coachings and do all the courses and all the group things. This was like very important for me. However, then to put it into practice in surroundings was entrepreneurship, having my own business and being in relationships.
Congratulations. Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
Oh gosh. So yeah, I love those two things you said, like let life surprise you a little. That's beautiful. I think I'm going to put this somehow in the title or in the description. And making decisions and commit. And would you say, like you described it a little bit more because we were talking about your life, would this relate to business as well, to your clients and how you work with clients? Are those two things which also have influence in business?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the very first thing, if you are an entrepreneur and if you want to become an entrepreneur is, or let me rephrase that a little bit. You know, at what point my business took off? It was the point where I left no back door open. It was the point in time where I was like, I am all in. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna bring it to fruition. I'm gonna be successful. I'm gonna go for it, and that changed a lot. Again, I think it's actually a very practical thing because once you do that, it saves you so much time with all the worrying and oh well, if it doesn't work, I'm gonna try something else and all those things. And believe me, I understand. I've been there. I've done this a million times going, well, if it doesn't work, I will do something else. I'll try a different business. I'll do that and so on and so forth. But actually, that is what is keeping you stuck. So once you go all in, you're like, I'm here to do this and I'm going to learn as much and get as much out of it as I possibly can. Your whole energy, your whole dynamic changes. And yeah, absolutely. I would say I have started to apply that in business for a couple of years now. And every time I did that, my business made a huge jump. I made a huge jump. I made a huge next step, and my business went along with that as well. Absolutely. And then, funny that you mentioned that, the next level came. We were talking about next level earlier a little bit, but the next level was, so how can I make my life easier? How can I make it more joyful? So for me, that was almost the development stage. And then I started looking for ways of relaxing a little bit more, letting things come to me, letting life surprise me more. And that's when business and life became much more enjoyable in a way. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. Seriously, there's days where I'm like, the technical stuff is giving me a hard time, or it's not like suddenly your life is perfect. I don't think I've met a single person who agrees to that. Also, that is what you always see on social media, that life is so perfect. And to be honest, I don't know if there's a place where you're in a state of constant happiness. I would say I'm in a state of happiness a lot, really a lot. But I'm not sure, life's never without challenges. But if you let life and business surprise you, make you smile, then it's so much more enjoyable, even if you have to learn a lesson, have to or want to. Now it's more about wanting to learn a lesson. Yeah, that's my take on making things a little bit easier in your own life and business.
Yeah, I love that. Super, super nice, everything you said. And perhaps let's go a little bit deeper into, because not everyone, this is why we are coaches for others. Not everyone, no, I have a lot of noise here. Nah, doesn't matter. Not everyone is at that stage where perhaps you are, perhaps where I am. And this is why we are actually mentors for others. So how would you say, or what are some of the big challenges clients come to you, and how do you help them with that? Like, what are the challenges and what are your solutions or your help there?
So one of the first challenges is more strategic. So the first question people always have, what's my theme? What is it I should go online with? What is it I should set a business up around? What's the thing I want to be known for example? So that's choosing your purpose, choosing your business, your niche. That's the first thing we solve on a more strategic level. But the journey from actually going from finding your niche, finding your theme, to setting up your business, that's where the mindset work comes in as well. Because there is so many things, like, for example, am I good enough? Can I actually do this? Who am I to tell other people X, Y, and Z? What other things do people come along with? am I going to stick through? How do you say? Am I going to manage to pull through? Am I going to keep going? Thank you very much. How am I going to keep going with this? What if nobody buys? What if I fail? Oh my God, fear of failure, such a huge thing, especially at the beginning. And those are all things, I mean, congratulations. Those are things you have to learn how to overcome. And in doing so, you actually going through a huge process of self-development. So you're going to be a better version of you. You're going to be a bigger version of you. And that's actually a really, really wonderful thing. So that's what I meant earlier with business is one of the biggest self-development steps you can ever take. Because in order to become this person that is successful, that makes a business work, that knows what she's doing, you have to overcome fear and doubt. And isn't that a wonderful thing to actually have to deal with in order to be successful? I think, I'm so grateful for all my failures, for all my successes.
So can you give us a little bit of a practical insight in that if a client comes with that? Because this is also what happens to my clients on the next level. If they come with this fear of failure, or if no one buys, like how do you help them over that fear?
So I hate to say that actually, but consistency is key. I was like, oh my God, consistency, bugger off. I don't want to hear it. But in a way, it's true. So what I've noticed, especially with my group programs, the people who show up for the weekly live calls, we do weekly calls each week. The people that show up for those calls consistently, those are the ones that really fear the best. They really, they know they have limitations, and they really do, they perform the best in the whole program. So it's not even if you're particularly good at something, it's just, are you willing to actually do what it takes? Are you willing not to just theorize and read books and buy coachings and watch, webinars and a whole lot of other things, but are you actually willing to, whatever it is they say in those coachings, are you willing to turn those into reality, bring those to life, those things? And those are the people who perform the best. Absolutely. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, are you really willing to let go of your comfort zone or leave your comfort zone? And if you're a person who's like, I'm scared, or, my comfort zone, I love to be comfortable, that's okay. But are you willing to just push it a little bit? And bear in mind, if you only push it a little bit, you're only going to succeed a little bit. So it's very much, if you have raving success or if you're going step by step, very much has to do with how far you're willing to lean out of your comfort zone. So those two things, those are the people that skyrocket their business, show up for the calls, do what's actually done in the coachings, and do what you said you would do. And the third one is lean out of your comfort zone. And, you have a coach by your side. You have somebody holding your hand. That's fantastic. That's wonderful. And that's how you really become successful very quickly, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. I would sign that. Do you have some examples from your clients, how they leave the comfort zone? Is it more around visibility? Is it like, I do Facebook Lives? Is it actually approaching people and saying, look, this is my product. Can I host this on your website and sell it through your shop? Or what are examples?
All of those. Thank you for those wonderful examples. But the thing is, we go from complete idea, or sometimes even lack of idea. We take the whole thing to, this is you've just won your first client. That's the journey I take, especially my beginners on. And the issues that they that they struggle with the most are at the beginning, visibility, like you were saying. Oh my God, what is my family going to think now? I want to do this and that. And I was always worried when I started, as a purpose coach, I was always worried that my grandmother was going to say, a purpose what? That's not even a job. What is it you want to do with that? That's just get a proper job, please, for the sake of it. And so that's what I was worried about. And people that I coach usually go through a very similar thing, or sometimes they're like, I'm going to tell the world. I have no problem with it. But quite often at the very beginning, they are ashamed of, but what if it's not going to work? What is my family going to say, for example? And I've had people in my program which is called my first genius online offer. So that's the journey we go on. And I've had one woman, for example, she started from absolute zero, like a lot of people do. And she went from zero to having 100 people in her Facebook group within days, because she managed to put her energy out there. And she didn't even have a Facebook account to begin with, literally. So this was ground zero. And she started doing Facebook Lives. She could never imagine even being on camera to begin with. She started doing all those things, and she was great at it. But not because I told her what to do and what to say. I did obviously help, but because she found it within herself to just be herself. She showed up super authentic, and that's so attractive. That is so beautiful to see if somebody really just shows up and is herself. And she now goes live regularly. She's like, well, I'm not having a very good day, but this is what I want to do. She's just super authentic, and from zero to like 100 people in her group in no time. So those are the results we see very quickly usually. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see those transformations and see people actually shine, from being frustrated, unhappy, not knowing to do what with life, and then actually creating value that other people want, and shining, like the whole aura changes, basically. Yeah. I love that.
Can I mention very quickly another example? Because I just remembered a woman who was very good at what she did, and she really also in one of the modules we look at how you can attract people and how you really can get your messaging across and become this charismatic leader. And I had one woman, she was fantastic at it. People were throwing themselves at her. You're like, oh, I want to know more. And one of the problems she had was she kept self-sabotaging. She was like, well, but I'm no good. And it's so interesting to see, if you don't believe that you're good, you will self-sabotage till the end of day. And that's why coaching is so important. So why should anybody else believe in you if you don't believe in yourself? And that's a big mind shift we also need to get to, from showing up and being your authentic self, but also believing in yourself. I once made a decision that from now on I'm going to believe in myself. I'm not going to waste any more time questioning my value. And I felt so relieved. Afterwards. So it's pointless. You're here. You have a living, breathing heart. You're here. You have value. Full stop. Don't stop. Don't question that. And you will show up differently for your people as well, for your clients.
I love that. And again, it's your example of making a decision, like basically making the decision from now on. I believe in myself. And probably sometimes those voices still came in, and still you could remember, I made this decision. I committed to that. So let's go back to that and keep focusing on what I actually want to believe, instead of spending time on the opposite.
Oh God, yeah. Thank you. Very well said. Oh, beautiful.
You have Vivaldi playing in the background, which is nice. Can you hear it as well?
I hope it's not too loud or anything. But yeah,
no, it's nice. It's like a little bit of classical music.
I did that purposefully. No, it's my Russian neighbors.
They like Vivaldi. Okay. What else did I want to ask? Just a little bit more, like, are there any other fears, any other challenges either you have gone through or your clients have gone through, where you think like, my audience, they are sensitive, intuitive entrepreneurs, usually those high achievers, overachievers like you were, like, like I have to work, I have to hustle, and actually in a job I didn't want to do anymore, and then making the shift to ease and living your life on Cyprus. So a little bit like, the audience listening here. What are some more perhaps tips or challenges you can speak about, and tips you have to give?
Yeah.
Very broad question.
No, absolutely.
Bring it on.
I love that subject anyway. So first of all, I think what I realized quite late on, I have to admit, but never mind, is that, okay, so attracting people and exciting people with your messaging is something you can learn. getting new clients, how to get clients is something you can learn. How to run a business, that's something you can learn. There's nobody that was just born with it. It was just a step-by-step process of those things and just learning them. One thing that I would add to that is literally, and this might be very interesting also for sensitive, intuitive entrepreneurs like you, everybody listening, is not working against yourself and really finding a way to work with what it is you have and with what it is you need and want. And I started calling that, at one point I said, you know what, I'm going to stop managing my time. I'm going to start managing my energy. So whether that's something you going through ups and downs emotionally, for example, what is something you can do to catch yourself not free falling, but what is something where you can turn the tides and actually when you realize you're going downwards, you're going into a downward spiral, what's something you can do that would bring you up again? What is something that will keep your head above the water? And from my side have really found ways and also made plans and everything to manage my energy. So I have an exact step-by-step process what it is I do when I'm very sad, or when I'm in a sad mood, or when I get angry at something, or when I feel exhausted. Because one of the things I realized was that at the point where I'm turning downwards into downward spiral, quite often I don't notice soon enough, or at that point in time, I don't know what to do. So I have so many tools. As a coach, you learn so many different tools, but sometimes the problem is not thinking of them at the right time. So, I mean, nobody's perfect. And literally, or if I used to go into financial worries, oh my God, that took up so much of my energy and so much of my time. So, how I'm going to pay this bill, how I'm going to do this, things like that. And I laid out plans and really also reflected what happens at that moment. Oh, and what would I need in that moment? And that's how I came up with, I call it energy design, where you literally, you look at what it is you need at that point in time, and you apply it when you need it the most. Or I also have in my membership area, there's audios in there when you start to procrastinate. I've recorded, and I started doing this with myself, but now I do it for clients as well. I started with procrastination as a really good example. So when I'm like, oh, I don't feel like it, I don't know if I want to do this. And then I listen to my audio, listen to my message where I go like, Catherine, let's go do this. And imagine you can't even wait to get started. And I just talk myself into a state where I'm like, literally, I can't wait to get started anymore. And that's something I really love, also manipulating yourself to be the best you can. So manipulating is such a bad people have a very bad connotation to that word. But what if we can use that to find out how we work and how we function and how our brain functions and how we get the best out of us and spend more time in a beautiful state? That's what Tony Robbins always says. Spend more time in a beautiful state. I totally agree. I don't touch work if I'm not in a good state. Like what I do first is get myself in a good state, and then if I want, I can do some work. That's Sorry, I don't know how I got there, but I'm very, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about that.
I love that. And it's basically also like, work up I do with clients. So I'm totally on, like, I totally get everything you're saying. Because you mentioned the sadness. I would love to hear, because you said you have a proper plan. And I know, like, especially empaths, it might not even be your own sadness. However, I have been there, and they are struck very often with sadness from other people. They feel like the world is not going as it could, So can you show us a little bit of your steps?
Yeah, I would like to mention an example, because especially with sadness and being very empathic with people is there's two types of empathy. So the first one is, somebody falls into falls into a ditch. Yeah, no,
Depression?
into a ditch. Like
Okay.
literally, we just visualize that somebody, or you're walking through the woods and somebody's in a ditch and they can't get out. So your first option is to go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You fell into a ditch. You know what? Let me jump in there as well. And then we can be together. And I'm so sorry for you. And it's so sad. And, and let's be sad together in the ditch. That's the first option you have. The second option is to say, oh my God, I can't believe you fell into a ditch. But you know what? I can see you. I can see your pain. I can see your sadness. But it's not going to help if I jump in there with you. So let me be there for you, and I'm going to reach your hand and tell me about your sadness or whatever. In the case of the ditch, you probably go and find a branch to pull them out or something like that. Or give them a branch so they can pull themselves out. That's even more important. So I think it's very important to distinguish those two things, and you're not being less empathic if you stay outside of the ditch, but recognize them in their sadness or in the state they are in. So I think that's the first thing. And as for my plan, I think there's absolutely no point in glossing over sadness. It's like I read a book once, and the guy used an image of having horse shit and then putting nail varnish on top of it. It's still going to be horse shit underneath. So I thought I love that. I love that image, and which is why I think the very first step is always to accept. And really, your sadness is there to tell you, or somebody else's sadness wants to tell them something. So it wants to be seen. It's almost like if a child came up to you and wanted some attention, you're like, oh, go away. Stress, sadness, frustration, anger, they're all there. They like pillars. They want to tell you something. And I think that's a beautiful opportunity, even if we work with the clients or with yourself, because it's an opportunity where you can grasp that sadness, you get access to it, and that's where healing can happen. I know you're nodding, so I know you know this too, and you work with this. And
of course.
but isn't that beautiful? If something comes up, everything you can feel, you can heal. If it's for you or your client, so step number one for me is it's really looking at it and giving it the attention, being sad, feeling sad, and not trying to push it away. And I was very good at pushing things away.
And then probably, like you said, not glossing over it. Like also then there comes a point, have your learning and then move on, instead of staying with it and saying like, I give you attention now for the rest of my life, every day, 8 hours every day.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And instead saying like, okay, what are the learnings? And now how do I want to feel? Let's shift into that again.
Yeah. And that's where the decision lies again, doesn't it? So you once you felt sad enough and you've really given that feeling room to be sad, for example, then going on and seeing, okay, so is that something I want? Is that something I want to continue? Or do I want to heal it and then move on and be again somebody that I want to be and have my life the way I want to have it? So yeah, absolutely. Making that decision to move on and learn from it.
Yeah. And it's powerful. We need that kind of self-leadership. It's actually not leading others. We always think we have to lead others. It starts with us.
Yes. Thank you. So beautifully said.
So we have almost finished. I think I would have a last question for you, because it's like we could do that for hours, I think.
Time flies when you're having fun.
We will have to find... So I would like first to ask for any last thoughts, any last tips, any last whatever comes up for you would like to share. And then I obviously want to know a little bit for the audience, for our German-speaking audience, the offer you have right now. Those would be the last two questions. And obviously, if you want to add something, feel free.
Fantastic. Yeah, I totally agree with what you just said earlier with the self-leadership. And that's also what I mean with this huge entrepreneurial journey that we go on once we embark and decide we are going to take what we love and turn it into a business. Oh my God, what a gift that is. We take our innermost thoughts, our desires, our dreams, and we decide we're going to make them visible for the world. That's what a purpose business, or that's what finding your purpose and turning it into a business is for me. And I think that's a huge gift. And I think the world needs more of those purpose-driven entrepreneurs, like the two of us, for example, but also every single one of our clients. And I salute everybody who goes on that journey and then has the bravery to fear not only their dreams, but also their demons that come with it. And that the self-leadership is the way to get through that, I believe. And so if I think one thing that I would like to add is, I went onto the Inca Trail a couple of years ago. You know, the Inca Trail, you've been to South America a lot, haven't you? So we had a guide back then, and all of us were like 23, 24 years old at the time. And all of us were like, all right, we want to get to Machu Picchu. We want to get there. And it was a 4-day trek, and it was raining and it was cold. And I had altitude sickness and everything. You know, I just wanted it to be over. I just wanted to arrive in Machu Picchu. And our guide sat us down at the different ruins that you cross on the way there, that you pass, and we just sat there. And he held a speech of 2 hours in the cold and in the rain, and we're like, "Oh man, just shut up! We want to get going. You know, this is horrible." And he kept just playing his flute and saying, "Enjoy the journey. Enjoy getting there. It's not about getting to Machu Picchu. It's about how you get there." And you know, I wanted to kick him. I really did. But it's so true. If you can enjoy going through along this path of this entrepreneurial journey, then you have won and you have succeeded on every level. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about 10,000 euros or 100,000 euros or a million or whatever. It's literally, have you enjoyed the journey going there? Are you enjoying who you've become? Are you enjoying who you are? And that's why I always say in my energy design program, we have a whole module on who do you want to be? Not what are your goals, who do you want to be? And I think that's so, so important. Now, sorry, that's why there's too much passion flying around here. No, literally,
that's beautiful.
What was your last question? I can't remember now.
Still there?
My programs, right?
Yeah. But how? But can I stop you, because you brought it up and I thought this as well. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you wonderfully.
Okay, because I loved your passionate, like almost like epilogue here, and I wanted to ask, because to enjoy the journey, and I love that, because we forget this, especially in challenges, and we have so many challenges on the way. That's part of business, that is business, and they just grow. The challenges don't go away. We always think, oh, when we make this money, they are gone. No, they just become bigger, and different and bigger and more like powerful. Like if you have a team and then have to make the money for the team, you know, it's not only can I feed myself, it is can I pay my people and their families. So actually the challenge becomes bigger. I just wanted like some thoughts, because you were bringing that up of money, and I know you were like you do make good money, and you are also investing and all of that. So you have found your way. And just perhaps one thought, sorry, I totally forgot that, on how you view money. Do you like money? What is the part of money in business?
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. That's probably a topic we could talk about for an hour or 10. Because money, I really have to say, I come from a place where this was 10, 12 years ago now. I got divorced, and that really set me on a journey, on a very interesting journey. I got to a place, I reset my entire life back then. So sorry, I have to go back a little bit in time to make, I guess to make my point, because I was doing all right with money. And then I got divorced. I fell into a deep hole. I pressed the reset button on my entire life. My friends, my health, my money, my business, everything. Literally nothing that I had built up before. It was all in ashes and on the ground. So, and this included obviously my financial situation. And I had nothing. I literally had nothing. I didn't know how to how to continue. I couldn't withdraw any money. And I think my lowest point came when I was living with my mum again. And I have a brother that's quite a bit younger than I am. And I was hungry and I couldn't withdraw any money, and I didn't have any money at home. And I went up to my then, I guess he was 13 or something, 15-year-old brother. And I was like, could you lend me €1 so I can go across the street to the supermarket and buy a pizza? Because I wanted to get some ready meal pizza. And he was like, yeah, no problem. Here's the euro. And I'm like, wow, I'm like 30 or something. And I just had to borrow €1 from my brother, who's much younger than I am. And that really got me thinking, damn, what am I doing here? And so I had a very difficult relationship with money over years. And I really had to put in quite a lot of work to get myself out of that, because I used to call it my, I can't remember, how would you say that in English? But I used to call it my poor memory. I literally had this memory of being poor, and it had such a grasp over me. I literally had to dig myself out of that. And the way to do it is to give it some attention. It's not, most people, when you ask them, well, what are your money goals, or how would you like to feel with money? They're like, oh, I don't want to think about it. I want to be free, and I don't want to have any worries. Well, the first thing is give it some attention. It's also, again, it's there to teach you something. And so I gave my money story quite a lot of attention and did a lot of healing in that, because there's a lot of a pain, and there's a lot of injuries that you take with you from a very young age. There's a lot of stored memories and what it means and so on. And I got rid of all those. I released all of those and really did a lot of healing around that. And then money became something that's just beautiful. It's like breathing air, breathing in, breathing out. It's the same with like breathing in money, breathing out money. I mean, that sounds really philosophical right now, but it is to feel abundance. You always associate a feeling with money. And what is it that you think you are going to feel or be or have when you have money? And quite often we realize, well, we can do that right now. Do you want to feel free? Well, feel free. Do you want to feel abundant? Feel abundant. It takes some practice, of course, and you got to go through the works. But money is a feeling, and as such, money is nothing more than air. Imagine if money is air, you breathe it in, you breathe it out, you spend it, you earn it, you spend it, you earn it. It's not something to hold on to and grasp. It's more something that I wouldn't say it helps you, but it's more something to enjoy. Like a flower that flourishes and wilts. That's I think that's how I see it nowadays.
I love that. It's a very soft view, a beautiful soft, like a flower, and something to breathe in, breathe out. And you totally like, this is like how you get across.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're not like driven, but that's. I live in money because it's all around me. It's abundance. I breathe it in, I breathe it out. And the feeling associated with it. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for adding that in the end. And I know I made you reduce that to like 5 minutes instead of like hours. We can get into that if you want into in a different episode. So now all ears on you. Share a little bit, please, with us for our German listeners. What you can offer.
Thank you. Yeah, what I really wanted to do, and what part of my purpose is, I had this vision of, imagine if all of us did something that we really love. Imagine every single person on this planet does something they love. Imagine how much harmony would be. And then sometimes people ask me, but who would take away our rubbish? And my reply to that is, there wouldn't be any rubbish. Just like a cherry tree doesn't have any rubbish, the leaves fall down. It's like a full circle. Yeah, absolutely. So my vision is to get as many people to do something they really love. And for me, the way to do this was to turn your talents, to turn your abilities, experience, and so on, your purpose into a business, because then you have a lot of innovation, a lot of freedom to do what you want and how you want to do it, which I mentioned earlier. How is such an important part of if we succeed as well. So that's something we literally, and it doesn't matter if you're already an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter if you're right at the very beginning and you don't even know what it is you want to do. I literally take my clients from, let's come up with the idea. The idea is your purpose. We always derive the business idea from the purpose, and I would never do it any other way ever again, because I tried so many business ideas, didn't work. Once I tapped into the power of purpose, the whole thing changed. So we literally go back to your purpose and then derive your business from that and what it is you want to achieve and then want to help with in the world. So that involves a lot of strategy, but it also involves a lot of mindset work, especially for different fears and from taking you from the very beginning into turning that purpose and those abilities into a product. Because I strongly believe that with a product or an offer online, you get leverage. You don't do the one-on-one work anymore. You don't do the freelance work where you work on other people's projects. So that's very important to go. If I would do it again, I would go straight for creating an online offer. I would go straight to creating a product. No more one-on-one work and things like that. But that's it. That's the most thing I do. The other thing is I have a course called Energy Design, which helps you to raise your energy, manage your energy, no longer your time. But that's sold out at the moment. I think we're going to start a new round at the beginning of the year, because that's always a good time where, people need a lot of energy and go like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to turn my goals into reality. So I think we're going to do that in January, probably. My other program, we're actually opening doors pretty soon, which is also rare because it's sold out most of the time, but we open it like 2-3 times a year, turning your purpose into business. It's actually called My First Genius Online Offer.
And that's happening right now, right? So I will include a link. Can you just give very short, how long is it? It's a crew
Thanks
program.
for the reminder. Yeah, absolutely. That's actually happening pretty soon. We are opening a 3-part masterclass training. That means, I think the first one is about purpose and finding your niche. The second one is about which offer should you create. What's the easiest, most fun, most valuable offer you can create without getting stuck in technical stuff, without getting stuck in strategy or anything like that? Literally, what is the easiest offer you can put together so you can start earning money straight away? And the third part of that masterclass training is how to get your clients, how to win clients online. So there's a lot of strategy and how to, and also mindset stuff in there to get you going. And I'm not talking about, hey, this is like a sales show or anything. It's actually a 3-part masterclass training that gets you from, I've been planning this and I've been wanting to do that, to, wow, I've started. I'm on my way. So that's the 3-part masterclass series. There is a recording of it. We're starting on the 20th, on the 15th of October, 20th and 22nd of October. And those are the dates for this year. This is the last time we're going to do it this year. And that's how you get to join. You actually familiarize yourself with, is that working for me? Is that what I want to do? And then you can see if you want to take it further and work with me.
Sounds amazing. Mm-hmm. Sounds amazing. And I will include the link to the masterclasses to the sign up page, because you said there will be a replay and then people can take it further. And it will be in German.
It is
right?
in German. That's right. Yeah.
Masterclass.
Absolutely. So the training at the moment is all in German. You're the person to go to for English. I went into the German market and I do a lot of work with Germans and Austrians and Swiss. So the German speaking market.
Yeah. So I would say, Catherine, thank you so much for your insights, for your time, your energy, your fun, the joy, all of that. It was just amazing to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you for what you are doing. And thank you for this podcast. And it's another pillar and another shining shooting star that I think the world really needs. So thank you for what it is you're doing and for bringing so much bravery and courage to all of your listeners. I really appreciate it.